Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Last night, I got the opportunity to catch the newest film, Longlegs, starring Nicolas Cage, Micah Monroe, and directed by Oz Perkins. In this movie, Micah Monroe plays an FBI agent who's hunting down Nicolas Cage's character, who is believed to be a serial killer. Now, I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil what this movie is about, but I will say this. When I first saw the marketing campaign for this film, I thought it was going to be something drastically different than what we actually got. I mean, we got the craziest imagery and trailers leading up to this film, one of them being like a picture of this really creepy looking family, ending with a shot of a photo of what appears to be a little girl's long legs sticking out of the bottom of like a bed sheet. Playing over the said photo is a very scared father talking about how it's not actually his daughter, and it was really genuinely like spooky and creepy and unsettling. So going into this film, I thought it was gonna be like Nicolas Cage was playing like a serial killer that's like maybe breaking into homes and dressing up like little girls or boys and kind of like tormenting these families before killing them. But that is not what this is. In fact, this movie, if I could describe it based off of other movies, is essentially if Silence of the Lambs, Seven, and the Amityville Horror had a baby. That's essentially what this movie is, because it is, first and foremost, a detective movie a la Seven, with a serial killer that's definitely going to become a cult classic icon like Hannibal Lecter, with a demonic undertone like the Amityville Horror. I remember seeing all over social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, every social media platform has these movie pundits, famous TikTokers, famous movie reviewers saying that this is the scariest film of 2024. I don't believe that is true, and it really set my expectations because I was going in expecting this true, terrifying hunt of a monster type movie where really it's not scary. I don't even think there's one jump scare in this film. It's a lot of unsettling dread. This is definitely more a psychological thriller where it's not trying to make you jump out of your seat, but rather make you feel icky and just, it gets under your skin and makes you feel uncomfortable. Anytime something horrific actually does happen, they point an arrow directly at it for you to see because they want you to feel like it's coming and there's nothing you can do about it. So where there's no jump scares, there's definitely serious tension building moments that are just so unsettling that it is horrific, but not in a jump scare kind of way. This isn't your typical slasher film. It's not super violent. When there is violence, it is very grotesque, but there's only a few scenes throughout the movie. So most of the time you're really just following the main female lead here as she tries to track down this killer before he strikes again. So a lot of it rests on the performances of Micah Monroe, who we're following for 99% of the time. Nicolas Cage's character actually doesn't even really show up until the halfway point, and when he does, his performance is incredible. And every time he was on screen, I wanted to laugh, not because I thought he was giving a funny performance, but because he was just so unsettling and so uncomfortable to watch that you almost want to laugh to break the tension, because if not that, then I'm just going to be holding my breath. He delivers one of the best, creepiest performances here that I've ever seen Nicolas Cage give. He goes over the top, but I've never seen him go over to the top in a horror movie like this before, where he's playing such a sick, demented person. And the story itself is genuinely intriguing, of trying to figure out how he's committing these acts of violence in a world that is very grounded in reality. That being said, yes, you have great performances. There's great tension for people that like that in a psychological thriller. There's a really good story that you want to get to the bottom of, but there are some gripes I have with it too. The first and foremost being, again, the marketing team for this film put together something that is not what you're getting in the actual movie. It is very misleading. I don't know if they're paying these TikTok people or these famous movie reviewer people to go on their platform and say this is the scariest movie I've ever seen. This is not a scary movie. It's not. It's unsettling, it's creepy, it's uncomfortable, but it's not scary. Don't listen to that. So even though at the end I wound up liking the movie, it took me a while to understand what I was actually watching because it was just so far detached from what the trailers and all those TikTokers made me believe it was. On top of that, there are some things that they introduce that exists in this world that they don't really explain a lot of. So by the end of the movie, there was a couple things that happened, especially towards the end, where I was like, what was the meaning of that? What was the significance of that? This movie has a very satanic cult-like feel to it towards the end of this film, where there is definitely some Satan worshiping, and things happen that I'm like, This movie up until this point felt like it could have taken place in our world, and now it feels kind of fantasy, if you will, and it pulled me out of it a little bit. But outside of that, this is a really well done movie by Oz Perkins. He knows how to craft something that just makes you feel super uncomfortable. This film is also beautifully shot. Oz Perkins isn't just a filmmaker, he's definitely an artist, and you could see that in the way that he frames a lot of his scenes. There's a lot of symmetry at work here. He really likes color design. There's a lot of times when people that are evil are bathed in red light where everybody else is bathed in a white light. There's just some interesting shots here that he does, and being someone that likes to make short films myself, it's really nice to see when a movie that's getting this much praise in a movie theater isn't just a by the numbers, green screen, very flat, low contrasty, Marvel kind of film, if you will. And it's just, they take a lot of time to make sure each frame is beautifully decorated and it just looks really good. If you're a fan, again, of movies like Silence of the Lambs or Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman or the Amityville Horror, I think you're going to really enjoy this film. I just wanted you all to know going in that it is in fact not a scary film, and it is very much so a psychological thriller. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I was really impressed with what they were able to do. I was really impressed with Nicolas Cage's performance. Every time I see him give a performance that I think is incredible, I'm like, there's no way he can top that, and then he does, and it's just insane. I'm curious to know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. Have you seen this movie yet? Has my review gave you a reason to go to the movies this weekend? I would love to know. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and as always, I'll catch you next time.